Dr. Tilman Becker, RICAIP Director, who will be talking to you about why RICAIP was created, what it delivers, and why it matters beyond the project duration. Tilman, the floor is yours. Thank you.
So much, So, good morning and welcome everyone to the final RICAIP project event. And I insisted on having that named the RICAIP Project Final Conference because we do intend to continue with this work under the name RICAIP Centre for the time to come. I wonder if I have a clicker to get to the next slides. Is it? Oh, you have it. Thank you so much. It's switched on. So, you've already seen this. Think 10 years ago when we started planning this and were successful in obtaining project funding, being in the situation that as a project, it's the largest EU project in this field of AI and Industry 4.0. It started with the intent to set up an international multi-site center of excellence, supporting the test beds at the partner sites. It obtained initial financial support at an enormously impressive sum of almost 50 million euros. And we are now at the end of this project phase. We started with these 4 partners, Czech CTU here, SATEC in BUT, and DFKI and ZIMA in Saarbrücken as the advanced partners. We've already extended this network to partners like Fraunhofer, the Technical University of Ostrava, another department within DFKI, and the associated Smart Factory KL with some 50 industrial partners joining this. And I would like to reflect a bit on what the components for the success really were, thinking back 10 years ago. And the very first one definitely is people. So allow me to use this opportunity to express my enormous gratitude and thank you to the people who were involved and who have always contributed to RICAIP far beyond expectations. And the people you need are first and foremost a strategist, a visionary like Professor Vladimir Majic, who has this idea that long time ago and the strategic thinking and planning. And it needs a partner like Professor Walster at the time in Saarbrücken to join these efforts. It needs the support from the 4 partners. So Toni Krüger, thank you so much, and Vladimir Werber, and Professor Watzlawick in Brno, and Christoph, and Professor Müller in Saarbrücken also. And then it needs teams to set up things like the original application. So thank you, Andrei, there he is, and Pavel and Petra Mikeshova and Eva and Eva. And I'm sure I'm missing people. Don't feel neglected at all. There are so many of you. And then it needs people to run and set up these test beds. So Pavel and Peter Kadera and Peter Collage and Pavel again and Ludiak in Brno and Tim in Saarbrücken and Kansa. They all set up this infrastructure. And you can see from this is a collaborative effort. So there were lots of meetings and people got to know each other better and what works best and how to do things. And all of this worked very nicely. And then it needs management of such a project. So again, Petra and Peter Shamanek, and very great thank you to Fanny Garel, my assistant, who's been at the heart of the project for a long time. And it needs people who support things like dissemination and communication. So Petra and Brno, and a very, very big thank you to Eva Delojalova. Where are you? And please have a round of applause for her, because she's really organizing all of these things. And often just works in the background. It needs the academic support. Our tenure track positions have been mentioned. So Thorsten Sattler and Mikuláš Janota and Tomáš Mikolov and Martin Suter were all building up their groups here. It was a very successful endeavor. So it's just what has been done so far. There's more to come and more people will join this. And I think it's okay to emphasize that people are really at the heart of this, is to get something like this done. And then it is the infrastructure that has been built. It needs to be maintained in the future. That's a big task. But having this to start with is enormously important, and that is really at the heart of a big element of the funding. So what, of course, you need is the funding that has already been mentioned. And then we're doing things. So we're talking and dealing with and supporting our stakeholders. Of course, that's academia. It's rooted in the universities, and it's bringing up researchers. It's educating students, extremely important, in particular for a country like the Czech Republic, to have a well-educated future workforce and give them the opportunity to work in an environment like the technical infrastructure that's here. It's, of course, industry, because we're dealing with industrial manufacturing. It's not an academic enterprise, but the goal is to start things so that they move into actual production. And last but not least, it's the general public and their representatives, meaning the governments. So we try to communicate and dispense the information and point out to what's important and needed and educate people about what Industry 4.0 means for the general public. So this is this clover leaf of RICAIP in a short sentence, but it's also outreach beyond the 4 partners. So the biggest effort for the future is to continue to evolve the already existing collaborative network with many partners of different kinds, in many kinds of collaborations, in associations, in funded projects, in industrial collaborations with other centers, and so on. So then, well, was it really successful? So what's one possible measure of success? And that's money. You've seen the funding that went into this. But it's not just that we spend this kind of money. We use that infrastructure of people and technology to obtain further additional funding. And already at this time, the RICAIP Centre has gotten a total of over 60 million euros of additional funding. So this is the really interesting number. What is the follow-up? What is the sustainability? And I think this is a very good measure of success. All of this, of course, is in collaboration with the partners, with the infrastructures provided by the FKI, by CHIRC, and so on, but really with the test beds at their heart. So the test beds themselves, I hope you will use the opportunity to have the tours. Go and see yourself. It's impressive on 2 levels here in Prague, on one big hall in Brno, with lots of different equipment, lots of different groups and students working on these things, with 2 different test beds already in existence. In Germany, in Saarbrücken, and in Prague. One in Saarbrücken jointly driven under Power for Production by DFKI and SIMA, and the one in Kaiserslautern in connection with the Smart Factory KL. And one of the things we did as outreach is build use cases and demonstrators. So instead of explaining those, I'll point forward to the next section. You'll see some of them and see how we try to convey with actual machinery to industrial participants foremostly what could be done. And then it's outreach, so organize conferences and workshops, organize webinars for the general public, for academic audiences, go to exhibitions like the Hannover Fair Industry, RICAIP has presented there, that was very successful. Have visitors. We've had the German president here, for example. This has been very exciting, but also quite successful, I think. And that's an important part of outreach. That outreach needs to be international, not just on the European level, but also we have these collaborations with India, that you'll see a bit more about, but also with places like Korea, the US. The National Science Foundation has organized a workshop here at CERC on robotics and funded it. That's quite impressive. And Taiwan also. So this international connectivity is an important task to continue also. I'll not go into the details of this, but AI is becoming an ever bigger part of Industry 4.0. And it's not just the large language models, but many fields of AI. First of all, of course, this technology is about automating things. But even more important, it's being used for connecting and enabling humans by assistance systems, by supporting their activities, by education, by providing manuals and studies and so on. And so keep in mind that this is collaborative technology. And it's not just looking at the different fields like understanding pictures and so on, but it's also more and more about understanding activities, entire production actions and processes, and even the entire supply chain of distributed manufacturing. So it's a very large field, AI. It's way more than just large language models. And Professor Walst will tell you a bit more about process models. As a center, it's important to be in networks and support other partners and get support from them. So building this AI ecosystem is a very important part, starting with the new AI factory, working on the academic level together with the initiatives on the European level on machine learning and AI in general, big data like Gaia X and the data spaces. As Professor Magic has already mentioned, we were part in the networks of excellence. On the local level, we work at the EDIHs, the European Digital Innovation Hubs, to get partners, including SMEs, connected to what we do, meaning connected to Industry 4.0. But on the European, that goes up in steps to the European level with TAF, testing and experimentation facilities. Those are set up by the European Union in different sectors, and we are part of the one in manufacturing from the very beginning as a joint node with Ostrava and Brno. Very successful usage of the existing infrastructure in its intent. So it's this European outreach that is incredibly important. Again, not just with different research projects like RACEMAN, but with the support actions like AI Matters, the testing experimentation facilities, working together with like ADRA, the European associations, to know what's going on, but more importantly, to help shape these things. So we try to have influence on what the next programs are, what the topics should be, and try to find partners for these activities there. As an offer of the center, in particular towards industry, we can work on many levels with the local testbeds or jointly between these testbeds through a number of existing instruments. So it's not just with the existing partners that we work together, but we're open to welcome new partners and have instruments ready to do things with them through the EDIHs, through AI Matters, for purposes like pure research, for innovation and setting up new things, for testing and validating existing solutions. This can run on very many levels. So with this, just one final slide, having a short outlook. The upcoming Center Association will continue to leverage new big projects, and some of them are already in existence. You've heard that. We need to continue to grow this network of partners on all levels with all stakeholders, from industry to research and the general public. And I hope we can be an instrumental partner in shaping the next steps of Industry 4.0, because maybe I should say one thing about the number here. You might have heard Industry 5.0 is the next thing. That's a silly idea, if I may say that. If you look into what's new in 5.0, that's all written in 4.0 material that's 15 years old now. So go back and read the original material from Professor Walst. It's all there. So I think we're still in this revolution, which apparently takes more than a day, but nobody's surprised by that. So I hope RICAIP can be an instrument of continuing to shape this revolution in the next 10 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tilman, and congratulations on the project. Thank you very much.